Listen, today we're going to be talking about info products really quick. I want to tell you how sold 67 copies of my second info product while selling nothing on my first ever info product release. That's right. The first one I put out, I didn't sell anything. I completely bombed. It completely flopped. So how did I go from nothing? Hey, Helen, how you doing? How did I go from not selling anything to selling 67 copies? And let me tell you something, 67 copies is not that many, but you know what? I remember very clearly how I felt when I sold those 67 copies. It was back in 2014. And man, you might as well have told me I'd won the lottery, okay? And the funny part about it is, when I launched my first info product, I forget, this was probably like a year before that, back in 2013, and I sold nothing. The funny part is, I already had a successful membership club going. I already had a pretty good YouTube channel making me money. Um, and I was selling a lot of used books on Amazon. I was already making money online. So why didn't I sell any copies of my first info product? Why couldn't I leverage some of my previous success into success with this info product? Well, I'll tell you why. Um, what back then I was looking at all my ventures, all my, make money online type, projects. I looked at them very separately. Like they were all separate projects. You know, my first info product was called Easy YouTube Money Method. Why was it called Easy YouTube Money Method? Because I know that I had already figured out this way to drive traffic with YouTube. I had already driven traffic to YouTube, to membership clubs with two separate YouTube channels, right? I had already done it. So basically, it was more of me creating content around stuff that I was actually doing, right? And I thought, hey, this has worked for me in the past. It'll work for me now. I'm going to talk about YouTube because I figured out a way to, drive traffic with YouTube. Now, at the time, I was following this guy named Alex Jeffries, who was, pretty big time marketer at the time. He was a student of Rich Schefren, who I since became a student of too. Um, and he was launching on JVZoo. All right, JVZoo is this kind of like platform where you can launch products. It kind of specializes, I would say, in online business, products and stuff like that. But because he was launching on JVZoo, I wanted to launch on JVZoo. So I thought that was the place. All right. So I did. And I launched it on JVZoo. But I didn't think that I should spread the word about this thing. I had it in my mind that it's what I call launch and wait. Launch and wait. This is how a lot of new people do this. When they launch products, they put it out there on a marketplace like JVZoo or Warrior Plus or ClickBank, and they have this misconception that there's going to be people who comb this platform and they're going to find their product, right? They're going to find the product that they put out. Maybe it's Gumroad now. Maybe now you think that you can launch a product on Gumroad and people are going to be like perusing Gumroad and they're going to see your product, right? And you're going to get some sales from it. And I thought that too. Launch and wait. Launch and wait. and launch and wait back in 2013 or whatever, it got me nowhere, right? I put the product out, Easy YouTube Money Method, great product, taught what I knew about YouTube at the time, and I launched and I waited and it got zero sales, okay? Nothing. Did I take a hit to my ego? Yes, I did. Had I put work and time and effort into that product launch? Yes, I did. But did I do the things that were required to launch a successful product? No, I didn't. Was I a strong enough marketer to launch a successful product? No, I wasn't. So flash forward a year later. And a year later, I launched Easy YouTube Money Method 2.0. All right. And this launch was different. Okay. This launch, like I told you, I got 67 sales, right? And man, I was through the moon. And not only did I get 67 sales, I formed my first alliance, my first affiliate, my first person who promoted for me, and I'll never forget this, was a guy named Lee Murray, right? And Lee Murray, I don't know if he's a big time marketer or not, but I know he's put out lots of, info products, and I bought lots of them, and I became, acquaintances with him. And we ended up doing business together, right? And that was pretty awesome. But he was my first affiliate, and he promoted Easy YouTube Money Method 2.0, right? So those 67 sales that I got were a big deal. So let me break it down for you, because there's a big difference between what I did with my first launch, hurry up and wait, launch and wait and see what happens. There's a big difference between that and what I did with my second launch. So what were some of the big differences? And I want to give you this information, like, in a way where you can use it today, because this stuff happened 10 plus years ago, but it's still as relevant as ever today. Okay. So what's one big difference? One big difference, and I'm going to give you a few, but one big difference was this realization, that, I had this ecosystem around me. Ben Settle calls this a world, right? His world. He practices world building. Now, whether you call it an ecosystem, whether you call it a world, the fact of the matter is you have this area, what I call a sphere of influence around you, right? Now, to me, the core of that sphere of influence, the core of that world, the core of that ecosystem is your email list. This is where people care the most about what you have to say and what you have to sell. And then everything else kind of like branches out from your email list, right? So I identified when I launched my second one, that I had a few spheres of influence, right? I had Big Andy in the house. What's up, man? I really enjoy your notes, Andy. I love the work that you're doing on Substack. Keep rocking, my friend. You're doing great work. So soon, I'm sure you will be getting the attention you deserve. So good job. Okay, so what happened? Okay, sphere of influence. I identified that I had a few spheres of influence. All right, when I launched my second one. Now listen, I was very green. Okay, greener than most of you guys. I bet. Most of you guys are more sophisticated and savvy than I was back in 2014. Guaranteed. Because I hadn't even recognized that my email list was the core of my ecosystem. I hadn't recognized that yet. I mean, I had a membership club back then with plenty of members at that time paying me every single month. And I hadn't recognized that if I launched a product, I should probably email those guys. I hadn't recognized that yet. But I did start to recognize things in a kind of primitive way, right? Big dumb animal that I am. Okay, I started to recognize some things, and I recognized, hey, you know what? I'm doing a product called Easy YouTube Money Method 2.0. Maybe I should advertise that to my YouTube channel. I know that my YouTube channel is primarily about used book selling on Amazon. I understand that. I understand it's a little out of my lane to talk about this book, because it has nothing to do with used book selling, and that's what my YouTube channel is about. But it doesn't matter. I got a YouTube channel, and all these people, they care about selling used books on Amazon, maybe, but maybe they also care about other things related to making money. And this is something else that I have going on. So maybe they would care about that too. It is directly related to YouTube. So I started recognizing I had a sphere of influence. It wasn't a direct line like I used to think. These are all separate projects. They have nothing to do with each other. I stopped seeing it quite like that and started seeing it. Well, no. These projects do have nothing to do with each other technically, but they all have something to do with each other, and that's me, right? I'm involved with all these projects, and maybe some of these people are following me to see what I got going on, and not just because of that one subject, right? So I recognize my YouTube channel as a sphere of influence. And the other thing, during that year between those two products, I was studying what I call the launch game, right? The launch game is where people launch info products fairly regularly, monthly, every couple weeks, every couple months. They launch, they promote, they launch, they promote. And another thing I realized, besides my sphere of influence that I could tap into, I realized that a lot of people who launch products, they run affiliate traffic. Okay. They actively seek out affiliates and they network with those affiliates and they try to get them to promote their products, right? So referral traffic and seeking out affiliates and the referral traffic was a big part of my second launch. And that was a difference between that launch and the first launch, which was launch and wait, launch and wait. Like affiliate recruitment, or what I like to call affiliate outreach, is a far better strategy than launch and wait. Okay. I can tell you right now, you're going to make a lot more money, you know, doing some affiliate outreach and trying to get other people interested in what you have going on than just like launching and waiting and launching and waiting. Okay. Um, yeah, I think I took some notes here. Look at these notes I took. I scribbled them on here. Yeah, I can't even read my own handwriting. I think that, if you're getting into, launching some info products, I think one of the big things that you can do is to recognize you have a sphere of influence. Even if there's a little bit of like completely differentiated subject matters between what you're doing on your YouTube channel and what maybe you're doing on your Substack. Oh, well, on my Substack, all I talk about is email copy. And on my YouTube channel, all I talk about is like, model airplanes or something, Okay, well, that's a stretch. Those are completely different niches, right? But you know what? Today, I would still mention it on my YouTube channel. Even if they were completely different, I would still try to tap into that sphere of influence and recognize that those people probably aren't going to care about, email copy. If I'm launching a product on email copy, most of those people on my model airplane YouTube channel aren't going to care about the email copy ebook that I'm releasing, but some of them might. Some of them might be on that YouTube channel and they're just interested in what I have going on. So I'm going to tap into all my spheres of influence. Okay. And then by running some affiliate traffic or by actively promoting some affiliates, you're going to tap into some other people's sphere of influences. Okay. And so that was probably the big difference between the first launch that I did, which sold 0 copies, and the second launch that I did, which was 67. And then after that, I was off to the races. It was on to learning more about product launching, getting better at my craft, learning how to be a better marketer. And look, you got to be a student of the game. Okay. That's very important. I'm always learning. I've been doing this for over a decade now. I mean, I still learn things from people every day. Try to keep an open mind, recognize that, the internet is a raging river that's constantly changing. There's principles, that pretty much do tend to stay the same. But the specifics, the details do tend to change a lot. And, so never to sit back and act like you've seen it all before, you've done it all before, you know it all, because that's when you're going to start falling behind. You're not going to know it all. Nobody ever knows it all. And, I think it's just better just to kind of like, adopt this role of, student. But anyways, look, I'm rambling on. I hope you guys have an amazing day. I got to get back to work. If you like any of what I'm talking about, be sure to sign up for my email list. I'm at epicconversions.com, or you can sign up to follow me right here on Substack. Thank you so much for your time and attention, and I'll catch up with you guys in the next one. Peace, everybody.